Alright everyone, well this is something you don't see every day. Two almost identical Crown mild hybrids and one of them has a charging fault. So I'm going to try and fix that now. These are very early hybrid vehicles. The hybrid system is a lot different to what you find on modern hybrids. These were originally released in 2002, which I think only possibly the Insight was before this in 2000. The way this system works is you have a motor generator unit down there which runs off a large belt, and that takes care of all the power generation and some of the starting. It does have an additional starter, a standard normal starter. The crank pulley and therefore the belts are on an electromagnetic clutch. When that's released, the belt and all the ancillaries can turn freely. I don't know exactly how that's implemented, but as you can see it's quite different to most modern hybrids if you know anything about them. Three-phase power runs through this to the inverter unit there, and then there's two batteries in the back of the car, in the boot or the trunk if you're American. A 36 volt battery and a normal, well I say normal, a 12 volt battery, but it's anything but normal really. They're both very expensive. And I suspect that the 36 volt battery is at fault on that vehicle because I've done quite a lot of diagnostic work on it with the scanner and with TechStream, and it points to it being a dodgy 36 volt battery because on the cranking test the engine does not turn from the motor generator cranking, but does turn from the standard starter, and it starts and runs. The problem is though that it won't charge the 12 volt battery, but I think that's just a symptom of the 36 volt battery being at fault. I have checked the motor generator cranking on both vehicles now, and on this vehicle it starts the engine, but on that vehicle it just makes a click and doesn't turn. And while monitoring the battery voltage of the 36 volt battery while that's trying to operate, the 36 volt battery drops to basically zero, whereas this one stays at around 30 volts and starts the engine. Also, after I'd been trying to run the motor generator unit on that car for quite some time, the 36 volt battery voltage, state of charge, sorry, dropped to around 50%. I wasn't watching it at the time, but then when I went to charge it back up, it jumped, well, it climbed up to about 60% and then jumped all the way to 90% and then stayed there, which tells me that the battery is dead. So I think the next step is to swap them over, but I'll show you a couple of the diagnostic tests now. There's nice interiors on these vehicles, same wool seats as the Century, same type of fabric anyway. I'm not quite sure about the factory Toyota seat doily things though, they're not really to my taste, I'll be honest. So as far as the diagnostics are concerned, on the other vehicle I was kind of pointing towards the battery anyway, and I've done some other tests that have confirmed it, but this is the good vehicle, and if I click on motor generator engine cranking, ignition on, engine off, I'll go to monitoring data and I'll choose battery current, battery voltage and state of charge. This is launch diagnostics, by the way. It's exactly the same as TechStream, but it's more reliable than my version of TechStream. Even the same spelling mistakes. I'm pretty sure they just reverse engineered it. Or just put a skin on it. Right, 36 volt battery voltage is the one to watch. If I click on, engine fires up, and it didn't drop very far. We'll do it again here. Yeah, didn't drop below 30 volts. And the state of charge is changing rapidly, whereas on the other vehicle it's just pretty much locked. Make sure that's off before I turn the ignition off. Right, now I'll show you this on the other vehicle. Yeah, also my TechStream isn't wireless. So this is the other vehicle. I want to go to motor generator engine cranking again. Same conditions. I'll go for monitoring data the same again. Battery current, state charge, battery voltage. And if I click on, hopefully we'll just get another click again. Yep. And battery voltage 0.5 and then back up to 30. Trying it again and it dropped again. So it's looking like the 36 volt battery is a problem, which is unfortunate because I believe they're about £800. Similar price to like a race lithium battery or something, and it's just a lead acid battery. But needs must. So that's the next step. In the back we have the 12 volt battery with a built-in temperature sensor and stuff, and the 36 volt battery with bolt-on terminals, which after translating that with Google Translate mentioned sulfuric acid, so I do just assume it's just a standard lead acid battery but a sealed variety. It's also got a temperature sensor on it. It monitors the current going in and out of that as well, and the internal resistance. So it's got a few checks to go through, but nothing ever came up really as a code or anything pointing towards that battery being at fault. And it's fault with the 12 volt system. That's the reason I'm investigating this. This car has actually been to the Toyota main dealer and they couldn't find the fault. I think this is it though, after a brainstorming session yesterday with myself and a local auto electrician who'd already had a look at this and tried a few things, and he couldn't fix it either. So between us, we think we've found the fault. Actually, Toyota suggested it was the motor generator that was at fault, but the auto electrician had already swapped them between these two vehicles and the fault hadn't followed it. I think a lot of the problem with this car was it was a case of too many cooks. He'd thought this battery had already been changed. I'd been told this battery had already been changed, but when I've traced down the information and gone back to the source and checked with everyone, it turns out this battery hasn't been changed and everything else has, so it's pretty much just going to be that. Now, before I go and remove this battery, as with most hybrid systems, there is an isolation switch which needs to be removed to make the system safe. You still got to be very careful because it is high voltage, but it's not particularly high on this. I did consider daisy chaining 3 batteries before I knew this vehicle was available for testing to give me 36 volts as a boost pack to effectively jump the high voltage battery off on that one and see if that fixes it. But since I've got this one to test with, swapping the batteries is the easier way. You know, you should always read the warnings when messing with high voltage, even if they're in Japanese. Thanks to Google Translate, that's easy now. Right, that's the battery out of the good car into the faulty car. You connect the terminals the same as any other battery. Disconnect the negative first and reconnect the negative last. I've then put the isolator switch back in, plugged in the temperature sensor and the vent pipe. I haven't done the battery clamp yet because this may not be final. I'm not going to be driving anywhere, so it'll be fine. So now to do the same test again, but with the replacement battery. Now before I do anything, I'm going to go into the special function, same as you would on TechStream, and state of charge learning. It may not need to do it because it does mention only the 12 volt there, but it should probably be done since it's a different battery. And then you just wait 20 seconds. Already I can see there's an improvement because the 12 volt source is higher than it ever was. So let's go back into actuation test. MG engine cranking. Leave the monitoring data for now and just see if it starts the car. And there we have it. Engine running. Well, that's diagnosed, 100%. We know what the problem is. It's a very expensive battery. Stop that now. There we go. So I'll give them the good news and the bad news. It is an expensive fix, but we know what the problem is. They are pretty cool cars. I like all the little details on this sort of family of Toyotas. Lovely little badges. Nice wool interior, even if it does need a bit of a clean. They're clearly not for everyone. Definitely take cues from American cars, probably Lincolns or something. Crazy amount of legroom in the back. And is that a pen holder on the dash? I think it probably is. Actually has the air purifier that most cars don't have, but is an option. 2 litre straight 6 engine. I think it was a 1G FE. Could be wrong. Nice badging and chrome work on them. Excuse the leaves, we had a lot of wind here the past few days. So yeah, rare sight and seeing double. So I guess that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more. See ya.